I'm wearing my winter coat, and there's a hugel culture mountain behind me. This can only mean one thing: Wheaton Labs. Paul Wheaton is hosting the Rocket Mass Heater Jamboree here in Missoula, Montana, and he invited me to come over and see what was going on, do a little video of the innovation going on with Rocket Mass heaters. Right now, Paul is hosting 6 of the most leading innovators of Rocket Mass heaters in the country, and I get to see the cool things they're coming up with.
We are at the loft shack. It's a very small cabin, a tiny house actually, and heating in here is being done by the Minnie Mouse. Minnie Mouse is just one oil barrel with a grease drum attached to it. Inside here there's a small J-tube, just a 4x4 inch J-tube. The riser ends up here, goes down. The pipe, the chimney pipe here, is inside the barrel and goes down to the bottom. About 6 inches from the bottom it ends. So heat goes up, down the barrel and to the pipe.
This is the Minnie Mouse.
This is the Minnie Mouse. It's for tiny houses.
What's the square footage in this?
I think it is 6 feet by 11 feet. So this is 66 square feet. This is a portable cabin on skids. We've already moved this cabin 3 times to wherever we like. And this will move right along with it.
Perfect. Now we're going to meet with one of the innovators, Donkey, who has a new style Rocket Mass heater he has in this place right here. It's pretty cool. Check this out. So Donkey, this Rocket Mass heater is a little bit different than the ones that we're used to seeing, the standard Rocket Mass heater, where we have the 55-gallon drum and then the wood feed.
Like a little horizontal wood feed and all that stuff. And why is this different and why does that matter?
I know that for my wife and in our house, something like that would not have the aesthetic appeal that might be consistent with her taste. But when I look at a Rocket Mass heater like this, I see that this is, one, it's more, there's a smaller footprint. So it's more concise in space, but also there's not a big metal drum in your face. It's a little bit more appealing visually. There's a little more aesthetic value here. So I think that something like this would be much easier to bring to the opposing spouse and say, well, look at this one. This might work.
Well, first let me address the metal barrel thing. The metal barrel is sort of a legacy of the fact that we were building these things 20 years ago out of trash and mud, right? It's a trash and mud thing. It means that anybody can afford the parts to do it, right? But if you want something a little better, it doesn't have to be a metal barrel. It could be any metal surface, anything. You could have a gorgeous dragon sculpture that's made with like a place where steam comes out of its nose, or you know, you can make anything you want for that. It doesn't have to be a metal barrel. The barrel is a free thing in most places. You know, it's considered to be a part of the waste stream in most places. So that's why we did the metal barrels from the beginning, is that these are a peasant technology, right? If you can afford to buy all that fancy stuff, you don't need one of these. Unless you want to actually burn wood cleanly, right? But you can afford to throw wood in a dirty box all day long if you want your aesthetics. So that's where the barrel came from. But the barrel's not actually necessary either. That could be a masonry barrel, right? So what we've done in this thing, because of the stratification chamber here, it can be made out of brick and stuff. And oh, by the way, I'm not a mason, so don't pay too close attention to my masonry joints, because this is actually kind of a mockery of good masonry, honestly. This is going to be all plastered up with an earthen plaster. So all the masonry is going to disappear behind earthen plaster here. which is going to be really attractive of its own accord. You could leave the bricks in. We could make a window to say, hey, there's bricks in here, you know, like a truth window. We could do all kinds of things to this thing. All right, so let me go back and I can address what's great about this versus, say, a regular rocket stove, a J-tube rocket stove. You know, there's a lot of stuff, like I'll get clients who say, I really want a rocket stove because they're so efficient, and I've heard all these great things, and the first thing that I do is I try to talk people out of getting a rocket stove. Because I don't ever want someone to come back and say, you know, this stove isn't for me. So what I do is, you know, I say, are you the kind of person who just wants to throw a log at the fire and walk away? Or do you like fiddling with fire? And if they say, oh, I just want to throw a log at it and walk away, maybe a rocket mass heater isn't for you. I can talk them out of a rocket stove. If I can't do that, then I'll go build one happily. A rocket mass heater. If I can't do that, and like I said, the reason why is because traditional rocket mass heaters, the J-tube, tend to be a little fiddly. You got to sit with it and you got to fool with the wood. A lot of us really like that. I'm a pyro. I wouldn't want it any other way, right? I like fiddling with fire. If you like that, then do it. Okay, so what this does is, first of all, you can sit in front of it and watch the fire, which you can't do in a J-tube rocket mass heater. It's got a glass front, right? With the larger models, you can literally put a log or two in it and walk away for an hour, right? Which you typically can't really do with a rocket J-tube rocket mass heater. Typically 15-20 minutes you got to be back to it and fiddle with it if you've given it a good tight load, and that's an 8-inch rocket mass heater, the larger ones. So this solves the throw the log at it issue, and it solves the gotta fiddle with it all the time issue, and it solves the can't see the fire unless you're right on top of it issue. What more can I say about that? It's very gentle heat. It's gentle heat. The kids, a little toddler can toddle right up to that and touch it and be just fine. And they'll end up sitting right there, all happy and warm. I mean, look at this chimney. I mean, the fire's running, and I'm holding the chimney. It's toasty.
If this were a standard wood stove, your skin would be melting right now.
Stuck to the stovepipe, and I'd be screaming,
right?
And like looking for a hospital trip. Yeah, trip to the hospital. The only part of the stove that gets unreasonably hot is this guy right here. That's it.
Don't look! Don't look! Our underwear is showing! We would never go out in public with it like this! Don't look! Don't look at that! It's so embarrassing! It's not really there!
So here at base camp, I am with Paul Wheaton and Uncle Mud, one of the innovators for the rocket mass heater, Jamboree. And Paul, you are widely known in the United States, at least, for promoting hugel culture. That's probably one of your biggest things you're known for. And Uncle Mud, being one of the innovators for rocket mass heaters, is here, and we have this incredible marriage that has occurred. Can you tell us about that?
It's the hybrid! So yeah, we've got the hugel culture meets the rocket mass heater. And really what this is for greenhouses. So the thing is that if you're going to make something in a greenhouse, it has to be wet tolerant. And some people, I don't know, they either didn't get the memo or they don't believe it, I'm not sure. But what we're going to do is we're going to keep this thing running for several years. I mean, not constantly, but we'll fire it up periodically through several years to prove that it has tolerated the wet that's just out here in Mother Nature. At the same time, we're going to be able to extend the season on this growing bed, which we're going to pile even higher than what you see. And we're going to be able to grow things that normally can't be grown right here.
By keeping your little roots warm.
Warm roots.
Warm roots, yes.
What are we going to see? We're very curious to find out what we're going to see. Aren't we?
We are. Are we going to extend the season? And how? And how long?
And how long?
What flavor of season extension will it be? Will it be better than a greenhouse? It could happen.
It could happen.
This is an experiment. Welcome to Wheaton Labs. We experiment on things that maybe ought not be experimented on. We experiment on mud.
It hasn't affected me any for it.
And instead of that snow melting off, going down the road, that sort of thing, we probably have a passive absorption.
It's sandy soil with bits of wood in it that should absorb that.
The wood's gonna wick that, hold it,
Mhm.
and then water the plants in the summer.
Yeah.
Is that how it's gonna work?
Right. And
This season in Rocket Mass Hater fashion accessories is going to be the Stratification chamber. Look at one down here. This Stratification chamber is about 15 feet long that way, perfectly level. As we fill it with hot gases, the hot gases up here might be 120 degrees. Down here, it's like 70 degrees. So what we do is we have a way of sucking that stuff off the bottom at 70 degrees while we're pouring in the hot stuff to the top. Stratification chamber, it's all the rage, replacing ducting everywhere.
Yeah, that's pretty warm. This is my first Rocket Mass Heater bench experience. Right now, so.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty nice. I like it. That was a fun and interesting day at Wheaton Labs. I filmed a lot of video content that's going to be on Paul Wheaton's channel probably in the next few weeks. So if you want to see more about the Rocket Mass heaters, the new designs, and a panel discussion with all the innovators going over the different myths about Rocket Mass heaters and such, head on over to Paul's channel in a few weeks and it should be there for you.